I'm just a bill, yes, I'm only a bill, and I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. Well, it's a long, long journey to the capital city. It's a long, long week while I'm sitting in committee, but I know I'll be alone. Yeah, at least I hope and pray that I'll be, but today I'm just a bill.
This is Bill Scher on the Liberal Oasis radio show. Good morning to you. 10 days left until Election Day. Polls breaking very strongly in Obama's direction. The McCain campaign seemingly in a bit of a shame spiral. The blame game is starting to happen. It's Palin's fault. It's McCain's fault. She was not properly vetted. He's not bringing up Jeremiah Wright enough. Funny how in the course of this blame game, actual failed conservative policies don't get thrown into the mix. What you're seeing here is the Republican Party operatives, conservative movement leaders, trying to affix blame on individuals instead of taking actual responsibility for their own failures. The most interesting one to me is the notion that McCain did not bring up Jeremiah Wright enough, as if the Jeremiah Wright videos were not already seared in the nation's consciousness already. There's nothing new to say here. It's just a question of, can you get the news media to keep playing the video clips in a loop over again? And the notion, only if he did that would this be a different election. It should already be clear to everybody. You see how the Bill Ayers tactic failed so miserably. It wasn't because it wasn't incendiary enough. It has nothing to do with the economic distress everybody is feeling. An outcry from the public to say, will you tell us, Senator McCain, what you are going to do on the economy? That is different than George Bush. He has still failed to meet that test, except for, stopping earmarks, which is, 1/1000th of the issue. It should have been, and I probably mentioned this before, it should have been evident that when they saw the writing on the wall in Michigan at the top of October, that that racial resentments were not overcoming economic distress. Their call was to pull the plug on the whole state instead of to say, what can we do differently on the economy that will impress people more? But you did see this week, the stump speeches have gone off of Bill Ayers. They are on to the economy, at least taxes. You still see some of the scurrilous smears happening in the robocalls under the radar, but you don't see them as much in the stump speeches. But, you read John McCain's speech in New Hampshire from Wednesday, there is literally one paragraph in the entire speech that's actually about what McCain would do himself. And even that is just a quick laundry list of his own tax cuts. Not exactly a comprehensive economic vision. But the lines they're trying to get out are, Barack Obama said he wants to spread the wealth around. And more importantly, as far as what I want to talk about, that he claims he wants to cut taxes for 95% of Americans when 40% don't pay income taxes at all. And that means all he wants to do is take some of your money and give a government welfare check to a bunch of no-good deadbeats. This, to me, shows the fundamental disease that is afflicting the conservative movement. They are addicted to misinformation, to falsehoods. They have forgotten how to make an argument based on facts. They've been getting away with not telling the truth for so long that I don't know if it's that they don't know how to do things differently, or they're starting to believe all their own lies. I don't understand why they can't stop. But they should recognize that it's not working anymore. You've already had, once you've had 8 years of conservative governance, that has utterly failed. If you care at all about conservatism, you gotta own up. You gotta take some responsibility that the misinformation that was peddled before about how tax cuts were the magic elixir to everything were not true, and make some changes that bend to reality. But instead, and this is where, just so you know, I don't think I really need to go through the trouble of debunking this, because Obama is winning the tax argument by 14 points. The Democrat is beating the Republican on taxes by 14 points in the most recent NBC Wall Street Journal poll. So that says to me that since McCain is giving the same tax cut arguments that George Bush has given for the last 8 years that have been disproven, the public is simply tuning them out. But for your own enrichment, intellectual enrichment, it is true that 38% of tax filers end up not paying federal income tax. But that is not the same as saying they do not pay taxes on their income, because anybody that works, no matter how little you make, pays the payroll tax, which is not just a tax, but a flat regressive tax. It is a 15.3% flat tax on all income below $102,000. That means if you make more than $102,000, you pay a lower percentage of your income than low-income and middle-class workers. So those folks are contributing to the operations of government, and are definitely being severely squeezed in the current economy. It is not a ridiculous notion to say to help us get out of recession, to have more money get pumped back into the economy, we need to give people who are squeezed the break. We've tried the argument that you give the break to the top and they'll invest it in the economy and create jobs. That was tried. Did not work. The top-down, trickle-down strategy did not work. Obama proposes a more bottom-up strategy. Instead of actually having a debate on the merits of the tax plans, McCain, Palin, the broader conservative movement is choosing to distort what the tax plan is and actually call tax cuts. I mean, it's a conservative idea, I might add. It originated with Milton Friedman, the notion of a negative income tax, that you'd actually pay out some to lower income workers to reward them for more incentive to work without the rigmarole of having an actual government program. It's just simply recognizing that the work is not being, we need more take-home pay for folks in that income bracket. But now they're trying to smear that as being a government handout. And what McCain was saying in the most recent speech was, when Obama says spread the wealth around, he wants to take some of your money and give it to people who don't pay income taxes. Some conservatives just say don't pay taxes, which is an outright lie. I think McCain just has more of the lie by omission. But it's a completely false representation to look at those in the crowd, most of whom I'm sure do not make over $250,000, and say Obama wants to sort of pick your pocket and give it to the lazy welfare deadbeats, when everybody getting Obama's making work pay tax credit works. That is the point. So it says to me that they have become incapable of having an argument on the merits. And when conservative governance has taken such a blow to its own credibility, and to the extent that people are not automatically sold by the more liberal progressive direction that Obama articulates, that they were looking for conservatives to own up and say, well, tell us how you would fix things. Don't just tell us you do the same thing all over again. Tell us what you would do differently. There are, Obama does not call himself a liberal. He'll say progressive. But certainly, I think there are a lot of people that see him as a more liberal candidate and do not care whether they consider themselves liberal or not. They at least recognize that it's different and worth trying something different than the same thing. And McCain may say, I'm not Bush, but you have to... This is what the big failing was. I mean, I don't know if he could have recovered from the disastrous policies of George Bush, but you have to at least articulate a vision that shows how you're different. You can't just say, I'm not Bush. You got to show you're not Bush. And he still has been unable to do that. So what we're left with is a final run, it seems, where there is no October surprise. Bill Ayers was the October surprise, and it fizzled. And now everyone in the campaign is just pointing fingers and trying to save their own backsides. And that is not the way you can close the gap in the stretch run.